Hey there, friends. Angela J. Herrington here with your very first speaker session for the Deconstructing Faith Summit. I'm really excited to introduce you to our guests. I'm going to do that in just a second, but first, I want to give you just a little bit of housekeeping information. So, this is the first time you've been on a page like this. Have a look around. Notice over on the side, we've got a chat box where you can ask questions. If anything's tweetable, throw it in there. Just have some fun connecting over the topic that we're going to be talking about today. At the end of this session, we're going to drop a link in there, and that link is going to take you back over to the Facebook group, and we're going to have a thread dedicated to this session. So the summit is available for you to view for 24 hours, but that thread over in the Facebook group is going to stay long term. So if you are happen to be watching the replay, you notice that there's not a lot going on in the live chat, hop over to the Facebook group and just talk about the session, ask your questions, share your aha moments. We're really investing in this community long term, and so I'm super excited to see those threads go and go and go. It's just going to be a fun place for us to gather without having to worry about getting a grade. It's not like school. There's no grades. I have a black pen. I have a red pen on my desk, but I promise not to use it on your comments and replies. So that's how this is going to go. You'll also notice there's a couple buttons right underneath the video. Those are some resources that Abby has shared during the session and where you can find her online. So please check those out after the session. Stay with us for the video, but check those out after the session and just see some of the cool stuff that she shared with us. Okay, that's all the housekeeping, I promise. So let me jump right in. I'm going to introduce you to Abby Norman. And I love your title, by the way. She's a former teacher, current preacher, and author at abbynorman.net. Abby's a former teacher, current preacher living with her family in the city of Atlanta. After 9 years of loving the students and the learning and despising the testing and paper pushing of the classroom, she headed to seminary to seek ordination within the Methodist tradition. She's also planting a church on the southeast side of the city, and you can check that out at newhopeatlanta.org. Abby has been blogging for the past 7 years, and she's had the opportunity to write for Huffington Post, as well as She Loves Magazine and The Mudroom. This is the coolest part, she's also been featured on GPB, on Second Thought, NPR, A Closer Look, as well as on 11 Alive. She's a speech team at heart, loves live events, and the 2014 TEDx Peachtree event was particularly thrilling, as was delivering the sermon at her own church. But mostly, she just loves being in a room with real people, connecting there and learning about each other. Welcome to our virtual room, Abby. Thanks so much for being here. I'm sorry we can't do this in person right now, but welcome.
Hey, I'm really excited to be here as well. I'm so glad to be here. I'm excited about any conversations we're having about deconstruction because it's weird and messy and confusing, and now people have made it scaring.
Yeah, there's so many conflicting ideas about what deconstructing is and whether it's good or bad or messy or hard or all the things. I'm really glad we're gathering this week to talk about it. And I think that this is the perfect session to kick it off. Before we jump into the heart of your content, I wonder if you could just share a little bit about how your faith has shifted over the years. What's your deconstruction been like?
Yeah, so I moved to Atlanta with my husband literally the day after I walked across the stage to graduate from college. We had everything but the robe in the minivan, and or in the U-Haul, and we drove down and got an apartment sight unseen because God had asked us to move to Atlanta to plant a church. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. And so we did. And the church that we were planting with originally never planted. And I ended up in a Southern Baptist church in the Bible Belt of the southeast of America for a long time, for long enough for me to heed my own calling that the Lord had put on my heart. And I ended up leaving that church because there wasn't a place for me in the pulpit. There was a place for me to write all the kids' curriculum for a couple of years. There was a place for me to write all of the drama that was done for the last 5 years. There was a place for the pastor to start quoting my blog.
Oh, ouch, that stings. Oh.
But women preaching was like, we're not doing that right now. And it was never like, no, we're not doing it. It just was like, we'll do it when the Spirit calls. And we're not saying we won't do it, but just not right now. And all of those like soft push you off answers that you get when you start having really honest questions about, wait, what exactly does this church believe? And wait a minute, like, why is it like that? And for me, it was like, but why can't I do that? And what would it look like if we did do that? And why aren't we doing that? And like, what do you all believe about God? And then what does that mean about what you believe about me?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we were
that's
having
heavy.
all of those questions. And then I was like, asking those questions, and the answers were like, we love you, we think you're so great, thanks, but that didn't actually answer my question.
I love you already.
And
No, that's not what I asked. Thanks.
yeah, so there was, it was like repeatedly happening, and then finally there was just this like extremely pointed email where I was like, I am not asking you, because of course it was a smaller church, we were all like friends. Like I had slept on these people's couches. I'd been to their kids' birthday parties. Like they had held my babies and were like the first babysitters that we ever had. And so it wasn't like, we were like enmeshed, which is good. Like we were community to each other. And there was a lot that they did really well. Like just like, you had a baby in that church, every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 months, somebody showed up at your house with a meal.
Oh, beautiful.
Like that's how it worked. And so somebody let me borrow their car for 2 months. Like it was real, like just that solid community that really that church has to offer, and that we really needed.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know we weren't from here. And so when I was asking these questions, they were like, yeah, let's all get coffee. Oh yeah, we haven't seen each other in a while. And of course it was like all because me and the pastor could not be in a room together alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a lady, and I don't know, that was scary. I don't understand. I'm still unclear about that. But so I finally just sent him this email that was like, look, I am asking as someone who tithes to this church, and I asked yes or no questions. And then he was like, oh, I guess we should meet after church. That seemed really harsh. Like your email seemed really harsh. And I was like, I'm unclear. And then when he answered all my questions at the end, he was like, I just really feel like you're coming at this like a woman. And I'm coming at this like a human being. And I was like,
what?
It
Okay.
doesn't occur to you that you're coming at this like a white dude? And so I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
But the rest of my life was in total flux. I knew I had to quit teaching. I was miserable. My husband was finishing grad school. Him and I were like, okay, we're just going to hang on. We had 2 kids who were either just potty trained or still in diapers, like little. I was like, we're just going to hang on. We're going to hang on until you graduate. And then probably you'll get a job in the Midwest, and we'll just change churches when we just uproot our whole lives.
Right.
Except for he needed an extra year. So I knew that all of the tumultuous stuff in my life, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, not for another year. That's a long time.
We had already been hanging on sort of 6 months at a time, because it was like, oh. And so I have been very frank with God my whole life. And so I just told God, I'm exhausted. I'm crying all the time. I'm frustrated. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't believe that my husband's going to be in school another year. And I don't have time to like church shop, because that is exhausting. Like
it is. I'm so glad you said that. It really is.
If there are people here who are like, I am so tired that I cannot even think about going to a different church. And then if you have kids,
yeah, so much harder.
What do you do with them? You're going to put them in their nursery. You're going to leave them with you. What are they going to teach them in the nursery? What if it's not okay to put them in there's just all of those church questions. What do you wear? How do they sing? All of those things. And I was like, God, I do not have time for it. What you're going to do is you're going to freaking give me a sign, because I'm not doing it. You have to give me a sign about another church. And so maybe 2 days later, I was driving to Target to pick up diapers because they had a really good coupon. And I passed a church that had put out their new sign, like an actual freaking physical sign.
You got a church sign from God.
I did. It said Eastside Church, creative, historic, inclusive. Yeah, I like hit the horn. I hit the wheel and I was like, you think you're so funny, don't you? And I swear the Holy Spirit was like, oh, I'm hilarious.
We're just getting started, honey.
Yeah, like, and to be honest, like, I was mad. I think I was like waiting for, I don't know what I wanted. I wasn't that. But then I went to the website. I was like, oh my gosh, it was like every single box checked.
Oh,
Then I still had been burned pretty bad. So I emailed the pastor this like slightly aggressive email that was like, before I go to your church, I just need these questions answered. Like, how do you feel about gay marriage? What's your situation on baptism? What's your situation on women in leadership? And how many women do you actually have leading the church? I mean, like, it was like, I was definitely like throwing things at him that did not belong to him. And God bless this man who's a dear friend of mine now. Tim Lloyd sent me back just the most gracious email. And he was like, I'm so excited that you care so much about the theology.
oh, beautiful.
I'm so impressed with these questions. Here are all of our answers, all of your answers. Plus, and if you have any other questions, I'd love to grab a beer with you. I think you live in our neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a gracious response.
And
he didn't defend or
no,
like,
he was like, good for you.
beautiful.
Question. So I found out that he also is like now United Methodist. He had also come from an even more conservative background than I had come from.
Gotcha.
And so he got it. He was
Yeah.
like, yes, ask these questions. That's right. Because he was like, I hope you're asking everybody whose church you go to these questions, because they need to be on the record about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And within 3 or 4 weeks, he was like, Abby, you're called. Because your gifts are just like so blatant. And I cried. So I cried the first time me and him grabbed a beer and he told me that. And I cried just like the fact that he saw me as a person. I cried when the art director called me and asked me to paint for the church and also met with me, just me and him. I didn't realize how much that damage had done. And so that was a deeply healing process, was to be in this church that recognized me, that saw my gifts, that was really honest with me, that saw me for who I was. And my wish is that everyone gets that opportunity. And also I know that just isn't the reality for everybody.
Yeah. There's something really disruptive in a good way that happens when you're not the only person fighting for your gifts. Right? Like when you're not the only person that says, I think I'm called to this, it shifts things in a way that is unmistakably holy. And it's really hard to deny the movement of the Spirit when you're in a community that sees your gifts and affirms them rather than like pushing them off to the side. I'm so glad you have that.
Yeah, I feel really lucky.
Yeah. So the part of the reason I brought you here today was because you have this fabulous book, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later. But we need to talk about grief, and we need to talk about feelings, and we need to talk about lament a little bit, because deconstruction isn't an easy process. And I'm sure the people who are sitting in the audience watching this know that already. If you're coming to the Deconstructing Faith Summit, you've probably bumped into some of those feelings already. So jump in and tell us what.
One of the things, if you're deconstructing, you probably come from a faith that's really bad at like crap. At just, what do you do when you aren't happy? What do you do when you are really angry with God? What do you do when you did every single thing that the church or whoever asked you to do, and you're still in the wilderness? What do you do? The answer is like, you just keep praising the Lord. Like that is a pat answer, right? The church answer.
Yeah, the fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. So in my
Yeah.
book, which is called You Can Talk to God Like That, The Power of Lament to Change Your Faith, I call it church face.
Yeah.
Where like you're like crying or you're screaming at your kids or you're whatever in the car, and then you like get out of the car and you're like, oh hi, yeah, fine, no, yeah, it's great, everything is great. And so like that thing that the church cultivates is, we have been taught that's how we worship God. But the really like excellent best news ever is that a third of the Bible is people just like giving God the what for. It's just like people being like, are you freaking kidding me right now, God? I've worshiped you my whole life and now I'm in the desert and this dude's chasing after me.
Yeah.
This is, of course, the like Abby Norman translation, right?
I want to buy, sorry, just snort laughed. I want to buy the Abby Norman translation.
Yeah,
I think
but
it's amazing.
like all of the people, like so many of the people who we've been taught are like the heroes of the faith. They didn't really let God have it, and some of them deserved what they got, and they're still mad about it.
Yeah.
All over the Bible, I've been thinking a lot about the story of the Syrophoenician woman who goes with Jesus, and she goes to Jesus and she's, dude, my kid is sick. Will you heal her? And Jesus, and this is like the part I don't like and I don't know what to do with. Jesus is like a real butthole. And he's, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. And he calls her a dog. And then she goes, which is my favorite part of the story. She's, even the dogs get to eat the scraps. Come on, man, heal my kid. And then he
Right.
does.
Yeah.
And Jesus like responds to that. And so the faith that you are deconstructing from has these like really cool pieces in it that nobody gave you because they're deeply powerful. And one of the things is that we are allowed to say the says to God. God already knows. God already knows that we're angry or frustrated or having a hard time or so freaking tired. We're like extremely grateful that Abby Norman has this cute story about how God gave her a sign, and isn't that great? But oh my gosh, God, where's my freaking sign? Like that's an actual prayer you can pray.
You can absolutely pray that. Insert whatever emojis and Yosemite Sam punctuation you need.
Totally holy. And actually, so my Old Testament professor in seminary said, and I love this, he says, you are faithful to God if you are talking to God and not about God.
Wow.
So as long as you're talking to God, you can literally say whatever you want, and it's a form of worship. And I think in deconstruction, there's so much grief, and it's always often very complex.
Yeah.
I would say that I would like have been solidly reconstructing, which is not all of you are going to get there. I wish I could say, don't worry, you just deconstruct and then you reconstruct this beautiful thing. That if that's what you want, I'm praying it happens for you. But I don't want to promise that to you. But I would say I like left deconstruction a couple years ago, 5 years ago, maybe. And there are pieces of that faith that I still miss.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sad. I'm sad that me and my sisters don't speak the same faith language anymore. That's hard for me. Now, I understand their language, but they don't always understand mine. And that's a grief. And so they're just like little things. I think that often we end up having, if we were raised in the church a very specific way, sometimes we like grieve the teenage experiences that we didn't have.
Yeah.
Because we were like too busy. I mean, personal experience, like judging our classmates and like just trying to be holy. And or I have grieved the the guilt that I felt about things that now I don't think I should have felt guilt about. I think deconstruction is a lot, like having better questions and having way less answers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not fun.
No, it's terrifying.
It's terrifying. And it's
but it's honest. Thank you for saying that, because that is so honest. We all need to hear that.
like, 4 years ago, I would have had the exact right answer to this. Like, I miss that. I miss singing worship songs and not like thinking about how bad the theology is.
Oh my gosh, me too. Me too.
Or that the bands who are playing it are donating to causes that I think are gross. Like I miss being like not critical.
Yeah. Yeah, it always blows my mind when people say that deconstruction is cowardly and the easy way out, because I worked way harder to deconstruct my faith than I did to build a toxic, unhealthy faith in the first place.
Right. Or to just hold steady. Like even as I think about like my sisters, we're all parenting together. My most evangelical sister has the easiest time parenting because she has she knows what to say. Yes, no, yes, no, yes. Why? Because God said.
Right.
Me and my husband, my youngest is 11. My oldest is 11. She's starting to like really explore her ideas about like romantic relationships. We're like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could just be like, no, that's what Jesus. Yeah. I miss that.
Yeah. The certainty of a dictatorship.
Certainty is a powerful drug.
It really is.
And you have to wean yourself off of it.
Yeah. And I'm glad you bring up parenting, because I think there's a real unique thing that happens. And I don't know if unique in a good way, but like when you have kids before you deconstruct and you start raising them that environment, and then you realize so much of what you've been raising them is harmful, and you have to like adjust. That's where I'm at. My youngest is 12. I have two that have flown and grown. And so my oldest one, who's at home, is 17 and a half. We've been doing this for a while, and it's been really humbling. And I don't mean in a good way, but it's been really hard to be like, that thing I taught you? Yeah, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have taught you that.
Yeah. But one of the most powerful gifts I think deconstruction in real time in front of children can give them is that you're allowed to change your mind.
Absolutely.
That you're allowed to be wrong without shame.
Yeah.
Like you could say, you know what? And then the line we use all the time with our kids right now, we're giving you the best we have with the information we have.
Yep.
I can almost guarantee you that at some point in your life, I will have better information. And when I get that better information, we will figure it out together. That's a tool that they can really use.
Yeah.
In their life. To be able to maintain relationships with people and navigate relationships with people, and to be able to sit down with people and say like, hey dude, I was wrong about that. Like that is not something that the evangelical church is going to teach you how to do. They're going to teach you how to be, and they're going to teach you shame about being wrong. But the Bible in Lament, it's so fascinating. Did you know some of the heroes in our Bible were wrong? And then they lament.
No.
I know. In the stories. And then they lament about it. And they're like, I was wrong. These are the things I can think of to do to fix that. Mm-hmm. I am deeply grieved for the hurt that I've caused. That's allowed. That's like part of being human. I think we actually should be really good at being wrong. Like, we're not going to be right all the time. Things change. We understand things differently.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to be like, hey, this is the best that I've got. And in 2 weeks, I might have a different best. Yeah. That's okay.
One of the kindest things I've ever done for myself is to grieve the past with that kind of through that lens you just said of I'm really sad that XYZ happened. And also, I did the best I could with what I had. And then release it and just know that I
Oh,
can't grade myself 20 years ago by what I know now. That's not fair.
I think that's one of the hardest parts about deconstruction is that you have to lament all of the harm that you did when you thought you were doing like really good things. In the sixth grade, I called a girl from my elementary school and I basically told her like, hey, I'm afraid you're going to hell.
Oh.
We were 12. I was totally doing it. I was wrong. I want to be clear. Don't get on the phone and tell people they're going to hell. Like, I was wrong. That was wrong with me. But it came from a really kind place.
Yeah.
I was wrong. The best man at our wedding, a dear friend of ours from college, came out as gay while we were in college. And at the time, my theology didn't allow that. And my husband's didn't either. And our theology did some deep harm to that relationship that we have had to repent of and apologize to him for and hear like how much it hurt him. And I think it would be really easy to just be like, oh, 22-year-old Abby was just an asshole. But like, she wasn't.
She was indoctrinated.
She was wrong. She was dead wrong. And I wonder a lot about 60-year-old Abby, what she's going to say about 38-year-old Abby. And I hope that 60-year-old Abby is like, man, she was doing the best she could.
Yeah. Not to derail us, but everybody, I want you to write down what Abby just said. My theology didn't allow that. Because that is possibly the most compassionate phrase I have ever heard when owning how we've harmed people with really bad doctrine. So even if you don't think you need that, write that down, put that in your pocket somewhere, save it, so that if you do bump against on the future, which you probably will, you've got that framework, because that's really a beautiful way to say it. So thanks for saying it that way.
Thanks.
Yeah. So you and I were talking right before this call. We're going to bump into some emotions this week. We're going to bump into some grief.
Anger for everything.
Yep. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of big emotions happening. And so I wonder, what's one simple step that you can give people to help them navigate grief, anger, all these emotions this week? What's your advice for people knowing they're going into this summit?
It's a 2-step process.
Okay.
You're going to notice. Oh, some of us feel like I can identify my feelings right away. I just am really good at feelings. So I'm going to notice like, oh, I'm feeling angry. Oh, I'm feeling sad. Oh, this song is freaking me. I don't know if we have songs. We probably don't. But oh, this song on the radio is freaking me out. Oh my gosh, I drove past this thing and like I'm having all these weird feelings. So just notice. It might be like a physical thing. Some people are like, oh, I'm noticing that my shoulders are like up to my ears. Wonder what that's about. Like, I'm noticing that I can't breathe. I'm noticing that I feel sick. I want to barf. I'm noticing that whatever it is. Just notice. And if you can, notice without judgment. It's just you are feeling this way. And then wonder, hey, I wonder what that's about. This person said this thing about parenting and I felt really defensive.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's about. This person said this thing about an affirmative theology, a theology about sexuality, and I don't know, I felt confused. Okay. I wonder what that's about. Just notice it and then wonder about it.
Yeah.
And there's no deconstruction trophy.
That's funny. No, I'm a good event organizer, but I didn't bring trophies. So sorry.
Right. Like there are no
Off the table. Don't worry about it.
Or there are all the golds. Like if you want to tweet at me something that you're proud of, if you know me on Twitter, like I will be like, yes, gold star. And I will give like if that's what you need, because sometimes that's just what I need.
It is what we need. Absolutely.
But,
I
like,
love that.
there's no there. I hate to tell you, but like deconstruction means like there's no more there to get to.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. Like you're replacing so much framework, or you're tearing so much framework down.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. It's so hard. And I feel really grateful that I was deconstructing in a world where people weren't telling me that it was like evil and I was doing it wrong.
Yeah, that's true. Because if you're on the socials, if you're reading the blogs, if you're traveling in Christian circles at all, it's been turned into the boogeyman. I would say, as you're noticing the feelings and you're wondering what that's about, if you're noticing certain spaces that are constantly triggering you to put up those defensive walls, you may need to take a step back from those spaces. Give yourself the space to wonder without always having to defend and protect, because that's exhausting. Like being in a defensive position impacts your body in a lot of ways, and it's like layer upon layer of exhaustion.
So hard.
Yeah.
And also I would say, as much as you can, and I really understand this, give yourself as much space as you can to grieve.
Yeah.
Grief just takes time. And it takes so much more time than our society wants to give us.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true.
And there's no wrong thing to grieve. Like there's just not.
Yeah. So if you find emotions coming up this week and you're like, oh, that's stupid. Stop. Time out. You've been conditioned to diminish your own feelings and to not listen to them. So it doesn't matter if one of the speakers is telling a story and you're like, why am I crying? This isn't even my story. Well, something in your soul says we need to cry here. Let it happen.
And maybe it's just that you have the space and time. Like when my husband was in PhD, that's when we were doing most of our deconstruction. I was working full-time as an English teacher. My commute was terrible. I literally, during my lunch, would pull up a video on YouTube that I knew would make me cry because those were my 30 minutes.
Yeah, you needed to purge so that you could keep going.
So like maybe
totally get that
you have carved out the time to even, I just think, oh my gosh, I don't know if I would have been brave enough to sign up for a deconstruction summit and then watch it.
Yeah.
Like if you're here, I just think you're like really amazing and brave.
Yes.
And I just want you to be like, I don't know, whatever you need, you should do it.
I love that. Whatever you need, you should do it. And you don't have to tell everybody all the things. You can be here this week and not tell your friends and family and your church people.
Right. Now, some of us are internal processors, and so we will be doing that. But others of you, you don't have to. And also, just be really, even if like, I'm thinking about, okay, if I were watching a deconstruction summit, I'm like, do you have a fuzzy blanket? Do you have a stuffed animal? Do you have enough water? And Enneagram 2. So no, I just am like,
yeah. Oh, all the self-care. Yes.
I'm like, what do you need? Do you need snacks? Do you need water? Do you need a nap? Do you need a soft blanket? What doing is so hard. And the reason that like the church has existed for so long in a toxic space is because people weren't brave enough to do it.
Yeah.
And now those same people who weren't brave enough to do it are telling you that this is stupid. Right. Oh, okay. Huh.
Yeah. Oh, so much good stuff to chew on. So we talked about having the thread over in the group. I actually would love it if after the session, if y'all would hop over to that thread in the group, let's start making a list of things that we're going to keep around us for self-care this week. I've got some oils, I've got a water cup, I've got a notebook I love. Like, I've got some things. I've cultivated a space that I can connect with and that's nurturing. And I'm just wondering how everybody's going to do that. So let's just throw some ideas out. No, share what you're doing. And it may encourage other people. Like, it may give people ideas. A soft, fuzzy blanket. I don't have a soft, fuzzy blanket because it's summertime, but I bet you I'll have one next time I sit down in this chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. So Abby, you've shared so much goodness with us, and I'm really glad that you're kicking this session off for us, because I think it's going to put us in, I hate using right and wrong. I think it's going to put us in a mindset that allows us to be present because we're listening to ourselves and we're caring for ourselves. So it's almost like aligning, we're connecting with and aligning with ourselves, so that as we go through this week and we're hearing all these ideas that may be really radical or maybe like really challenging, we've got space to hold for ourselves. Even if nobody else out there is holding space, here we're holding space for each other. So thank you for kicking us off. I know people are going to want to follow you. I know they're going to want to keep learning from you. Tell us where to find you online.
I'm really easy to find because I'm at Abby Norman Says.
Cool.
On all socials. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter all the time. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, but I'm not cool enough to use it yet. I'm working on it.
Same. It's okay.
But I have it. And then I'm at abbynorman.net is my email. And abbynorman.net is my blog. And you can buy my book wherever books are sold. It's called You Can Talk to God Like That: The Power of Lament to Save Your Faith.
Highly recommend it. Some of you may have seen it. I reviewed it on the blog a couple months ago when it first came out. Loved it. So loved it. It's good for any stage of deconstruction. Even if you're not sure if deconstruction is really for you, this is a book that you can take with you. So I highly recommend that. Be sure to hop over to the Facebook group. Be sure to jump into the conversations all week. If you haven't checked the schedule page, please check the schedule, because we're going to have sessions kicking off tomorrow. And our team, I have to tell you, my team has put together a fabulous schedule for you. Not only does it have the name of the presenter and the time and all those basic details that you would expect, it also has a Google Calendar link. So if you click on that Google Calendar link, it will allow you to add the session to your Google Calendar so you get notifications. They've also graciously linked all of the Facebook threads. So it makes it really easy. That's your syllabus. That's your go-to space for the week if you have any questions. I will see all of you over in the cafe, and I will look forward to connecting with all of you tomorrow as we kick off our sessions with Megan Gilmore, who is a dear friend of mine and is going to talk to us about sacraments and self. And you're just going to love this session. So I hope everybody has a great night. Go talk in the group, but don't stay up all night, because you got to be back over here tomorrow so we can dive into the content together. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you at the next session.